By now, it should be clear that Solana is one of the favorites for this bull market. Of course, the problem for those getting in right now is that Sol has already pumped by over 10 times in the last 2 years. Thankfully though, the solution to this is pretty simple, and that's to look at the top projects building on Solana. You see, most of these promising cryptos are still lagging, and if history is any indication, many of them will outperform Sol. And that's why today we are going to tell you about the top 5 projects on Solana and how high they could go. Miss this and miss out. I'll start by saying that nothing in this video is financial advice. It's purely educational content intended to inform you about what we believe are the top crypto projects on Solana. And I'll also note that the Coin Bureau team holds some of these tokens as part of our personal crypto portfolios, but we will be as objective as possible in our analysis. So, the first project on the list is Helium. Now, Helium falls into the decentralized physical infrastructure or DePIN narrative, and this is likely to be one of the biggest narratives of this bull market. Helium is not only one of the top crypto projects on Solana, but arguably the top DePIN crypto, period. This is because Helium is one of the few crypto projects that has seen significant real-world adoption. You see, Helium basically consists of 2 networks, the Internet of Things or IoT network and the mobile network. Whereas the IoT network is for things like sensors and vehicles, mobile is, well, literally for mobile phones. In late 2022, Helium partnered with T-Mobile to improve the telecom giant's 5G connectivity in the US. And late last year, Helium announced the launch of its low-cost mobile plan with T-Mobile. And just last month, it announced that this low-cost plan had hit over 100,000 signups. At the same time, Helium has been looking to bring its low-cost peer-to-peer mobile coverage to other countries, with Mexico in the works since January. Just a few weeks ago, Helium Mobile also announced on X that it had been testing its mobile network with other telecom giants, presumably in the US. Say, did you know that Solana was selling its Saga mobile phones with Helium coverage included? Now consider that Nova Labs, the company behind Helium, has raised almost $365 million since its inception. The biggest round was its most recent, which took place in early 2022. For context, it's generally considered quite rare for crypto projects to raise so much money after they launch. You see, post-TGE raises suggests big investors remain incredibly bullish. Now, normally, such large VC raises are viewed with suspicion because it raises the risk that VCs will dump on retail. And you'll know this if you watched our video about high FDV cryptos. In Helium's case, though, this isn't that big of a risk, as most of HNT's supply is already in circulation. You see, HNT has been around since 2020. This is probably why HNT rallied by almost 10 times late last year. It's also why it's one of the few cryptos in Solana's ecosystem that's been so resilient during the recent market downturn. At the time of shooting, it's down 60% from its recent highs, but still 90% from its all-time highs in 2021. If HNT just returned to its all-time highs at around $50, that would translate to an over 10x gain. And that's actually very good for a crypto with over $1 billion in market cap. If the DePIN narrative gets as big as many expect it to be, and Helium continues to integrate with more of these telcos, HNT could go much higher. Indeed, we could see it hitting $100 or more during this bull market, and this would put Helium's market cap in the tens of billions. This is realistic if the DePIN narrative gets as big as many expect it to be, but that is a key assumption. The caveat is that Helium isn't the only one building peer-to-peer mobile networks. Another project doing this is World Mobile Token, which we actually covered in depth for our Coin Bureau Club members. You can become a member as well by using the link in the description. We do deep dives into small cap altcoins, reveal our personal crypto portfolios, and provide daily market updates. Check it out. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button if you're enjoying this video so far, subscribe to the channel and ping the notification bell as well to make sure you keep getting this awesome crypto content. Now, the second crypto project on the list is Pyth Network. Now, Pyth Network falls into the infrastructure narrative, which is popular among institutional investors. It is a data oracle, kind of like Chainlink, meaning it provides real-world data to crypto blockchains. Difference is that Pyth is much, much faster. For those unaware, crypto oracles are essentially required for dApps to work. For instance, they provide pricing data required for decentralized exchanges to execute accurate trades. The Pyth Network oracle is native to Solana, meaning it is effectively required for almost all of the projects on Solana. This is not that surprising, considering that it was developed by Jump Crypto, the crypto arm of Jump Trading, which is of course a Wall Street trading firm. And if you've been keeping up with our Solana coverage, you'll know that Jump Crypto has been deeply involved in Solana's ecosystem, basically building the fastest crypto infra possible. What is surprising is just how exponential Pyth Network's growth has been. Since its debut on Solana in the summer of 2021, Pyth Network has integrated with over 400 dApps on over 70 blockchains and published over 90 million updates for over 500 data feeds. It's safe to say that it's the next Chainlink. And to put things into perspective, Chainlink hit a market cap of over $20 billion during the last cycle. If Pyth Network was to follow suit this cycle, that would translate to a gain of over 20 times from Pyth's current price. The catch, though, is that it has some large unlocks that could bring its gains closer to about 10x. In the shorter term, Pyth could reclaim its recent highs of around $1, and if it does, it could rally as high as $2 in the coming months. And this is likely if Pyth lists on Coinbase, something that seems to be in the works, but probably hasn't happened yet due to regulatory uncertainty in the US. Now, whereas Helium's success assumes that DePIN will become a big narrative, Pyth's success hinges on the hope that there will be some positive change in crypto regulations in the US. And this would allow them to monetize its oracle and capitalize on the hundreds of billions of dollars in trades that it is facilitating. In this scenario, Pyth could rally as much as 10 times, but this seems unlikely for the time being. And that's just because Jump Crypto is reportedly under investigation by the CFTC. And this would explain why Coinbase has been hesitant to list Pyth. You see, Pyth Network is native to Solana, but it's only native to Solana. Every other crypto project using its oracle needs to do so via PythNet, which is basically a permissioned copy of Solana. The fact that data is going directly to Solana, but indirectly to other blockchains via PythNet, and that could be an issue. On that note, the fact that Pyth Network technically has its own blockchain makes things even more bullish for Pyth. And that's because it could someday make its PythNet blockchain public and permissionless. If this were to happen, Pyth would have additional utility as a coin for the blockchain. For the time being, though, Pyth's only utility is governance, and this doesn't create much demand, although if we're honest, this is the case for most cryptos. The next Chainlink narrative, though, it's sufficient to take Pyth to new all-time highs on just speculation alone. And of course, better regulations will allow for better fundamentals. And this ties into the third crypto project on the list, and that's Jito. Now, Jito is currently the largest DeFi protocol on Solana, with over $1.5 billion in total value locked. And that's because it allows for MEV-enhanced liquid staking. Now, this is something made possible by the fact that it operates one of Solana's validator clients. I know, it's a mouthful, so let's pick it apart piece by piece. Normally, when you stake a cryptocurrency, you need to lock it up for a certain period of time. In Solana's case, the lockup period is about 2 days. Now, this isn't much, but it's actually quite a lot when you remember how quickly the crypto market moves. In short, liquid staking makes it possible to stake crypto without actually needing to lock it up. And this is done by giving you a receipt of the crypto that you staked, in this case, a token called Jito Sol. Not only is this tokenized receipt freely tradable, but it also accrues a 7% staking reward in real time. And Jito enhances these liquid staking rewards by sharing some of the MEV from the validators using the client. MEV stands for Miner Extractable Value for Proof-of-Work cryptos and Maximal Extractable Value for Proof-of-Stake cryptos. It's what happens when a miner, or in this case a validator, rearranges the transactions within the block it's validating to maximize the profits from validating said block. Normally, this MEV is captured entirely by the miner or validator. With Jito, however, a portion of this MEV is shared with Jito's SOL holders, and this results in a variable yield that can be as high as 15% compared to the regular staking yield of 7%. As a fun fact, this is why Jito SOL trades at a premium to SOL. Pretty cool, huh? Again, this is all made possible by the fact that it operates one of Solana's validator clients. And without getting too technical, a validator client makes it possible for validators to interact with the blockchain. According to a validator report from October last year, Jito was the second most popular validator client. And this makes sense given that there were only 2 validator clients at the time. But that's enough technical talk for now. Besides Jito's novel MEV feature, what makes it a top Solana project is the fact that it appears to be undervalued relative to equivalents on other blockchains. For reference, look at Lido Finance, which is the largest staking protocol on Ethereum. Its market cap is in the billions. By contrast, Jito's market cap is in the hundreds of millions, meaning it has a lot more room to grow. And like Pyth, Jito's potential ultimately depends on what happens with regulations in the US. With the right regulations, its token could capture a portion of Jito's impressive protocol revenue. Like LDO though, Jito's potential could also be restricted by the fact that it has lots of insiders who would sell its tokens. According to Token Unlocks, there is a large vesting cliff coming in December of this year. For what it's worth though, research suggests that the price impact from vesting cliffs often comes from the associated FUD. In other words, the insiders don't always dump on the market. Instead, the market kind of freaks out about this possibility and it sells in advance. Case in point, Solana itself had one of the worst vesting schedules in crypto. That enormous unlock in January 2021 should have tanked Sol's price, but it had zero to no effect. You see, Sol went on to rally by 100 times. Let that sink in. Realistically, Jito should pull at least a 10x during this crypto bull market, and that's a conservative estimate. In the shorter term, it could recover to its recent highs of around $5, and if it does, it could quickly rally to $8, which would translate to an almost 4x gain from its current price. Not bad. And this relates to the fourth crypto on our list, and that's Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is a DEX aggregator with a whole bunch of cool features, including limit orders, a dollar cost averaging or DCA function, and even an order book-based perpetual futures exchange. You know, leveraged trading and all that fun stuff. Although Jupiter is currently not one of the largest DeFi protocols on Solana, it could be on track to enter the top 5, and it could eventually become larger than Jito. And this is because Jupiter has a completely different approach to building and increasing TVL from most DeFi protocols, and that's due to its pretty crazy history. The TLDR is that Jupiter originally launched as a stablecoin DEX called Mercurial Finance in 2021. Back then, Mercurial was one of the largest DeFi protocols on Solana, and it took the biggest hit when Terra's UST collapsed in 2022. Obviously, that's because Mercurial was ground zero for UST on Solana. To add insult to injury, a large amount of Mercurial's MER token was stolen after FTX collapsed. Basically, an unknown hacker managed to get into FTX's wallets. Instead of giving up, Mercurial doubled down by creating another protocol called Meteora, which was basically to optimize liquidity. And then finally, they launched Jupiter DEX. As a consequence of being around for so long, Jupiter is apparently the most integrated DeFi protocol on Solana. And in case it wasn't clear enough, it has also been one of the most innovative. And most importantly, however, it's been one of the most focused on driving sustainable value for Solana's entire DeFi ecosystem. And this can clearly be seen in Jupe's tokenomics. As you can see, 40% of the supply was set aside for airdrops to the community. 20% of the supply went to the team. 20% went to strategic reserves. 10% went to liquidity providers. And 10% went to contributors and grants. Now, what do you notice? That's right, 0 VCs. To be fair, Jupiter noted that a portion of that strategic reserve could be sold to investors in the future, but you'd be hard-pressed to find better tokenomics on a blue-chip Solana project. As a cherry on the top there, Jupiter also airdropped a meme coin called WEN to its community, with plans for further such shenanigans in the future. And this is probably why Jupiter's market cap is more consistent with the overall value it's bringing to Solana's DeFi ecosystem. In fact, you could say that it's fundamentally a bet on Solana's entire DeFi ecosystem. And like Pyth Network, Jupiter has practically become a core component of its infrastructure. Using this assumption as our baseline, we can look at Solana's total DeFi TVL to get a sense of how big Jupe could grow. If Solana's total DeFi TVL follows Ethereum's, then it should hit at least $100 billion in between now and the end of the crypto bull market. And that would translate to a roughly 25 times growth. As such, it's possible that Jupe itself could 25x or more from here. At first glance, this seems unlikely, given that Jupiter's market cap is already over $1 billion. Upon closer inspection, though, you'll realize that Uniswap's market cap went over $20 billion during the last cycle, and Jupiter could grow to reach a similar size. And this is more likely than you think, considering how Jupe's vesting schedule doesn't seem to be nearly as aggressive as those other top Solana tokens we've talked about. According to token unlocks, the next vesting cliff isn't until January 2025, and it seems that the DAO will get the final say on how many tokens are unlocked then. In the shorter term, Jupe could reclaim its recent highs of $1.8, and if it does, then $3 could be the next stop. And this pertains to the fifth and final crypto on the list, and that's Bonk. Now, before you roll your eyes, you should know that Bonk is much more than just a meme coin. Since its launch in 2022, it has created multiple Bonk-themed DeFi protocols with actual utility, like the BonkBot Telegram bot, for example. This might have something to do with the fact that Bonk was supposedly created by a team of 22 Solana developers who wanted to lift the spirits of the Solana ecosystem after FTX collapsed. Bonk subsequently went on to become the biggest meme coin on Solana, minting multiple millionaires in the process. Today, Bonk seems to be more of a way of increasing adoption and engagement on Solana. And the easiest example that comes to mind was Bonk being airdropped to the holders of Solana's Saga phone. And this airdrop actually ended up being worth more than the phone itself, and it set a precedent for future Saga phone airdrops. And in contrast to most meme coins, there actually seems to be a company behind the token. According to the Bonk white paper, the project is legally owned by a Canadian company. This is why it's a bit strange that Bonk managed to list on crypto exchanges in the US, but let's not go there. In any case, the fact that there's a company behind Bonk means it's possible for it to do things that most other meme coins can't. Like partnering with larger companies inside and outside of crypto. Bonk's DAO governance simultaneously allows for things like token burns without really upsetting regulators. Its only real hurdle, though, is its enormous market cap. And some would argue that this isn't really a hurdle since Dogecoin hit a market cap of over $90 billion during the last market cycle. However, we would argue that the growing number of meme coins is likely to spread capital very thin, like Bonk competing with Dog with Hat, for example. Given this fact, a realistic expectation for Bonk would be a market cap of between $20 to $40 billion, and this would translate to a gain of roughly 10 to 20 times, which is not too shabby for a large cap. From our perspective, the only way that Bonk could become as big as Dogecoin would be through a spot ETF being listed, but that won't ever happen, right? In the shorter term, bonk could double if the markets recover, but just keep in mind that meme coins are very volatile. All it takes is for some popular personality to mention bonk and it could pump its price much more. Conversely, the slightest market downturn could result in large losses due to all of the speculation. And note that we actually did a video about how to analyze meme coins, which you can of course find in the description. That's all for today's video about the top Solana projects. If you found it informative, then smash that like button to let us know. And if you want to stay informed, subscribe to the channel and ping the notification bell as well. And if you want to inform others about the top Solana projects, then feel free to share this video with them. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Nick, out.